Thanks for tuning in to another one of my videos. Today, our topic is natural disasters. Mother Earth is a wicked mistress. So, we're just going to rank the shit she throws at us and see which ones get Misha more angry. He's into meteorology, so I'm going to try to see what kind of emotions I can draw out of him. It's going to be over the phone once again, but we're going to do what we can and have an entertaining video here for you. I'd like to preface the video by talking about just what is obviously the number one answer for the scariest, most fearsome thing, and that would be a catastrophic event via a meteor just crushing down, destroying Earth, destroying humanity. That would obviously be the scariest, deadliest catastrophe. So we're going to take that off the board. That's not an option in the ranking system. And then, secondly, I guess the safest place to be if that were to occur would be off planet. So that's no longer an option either. Some satellite space station revolving the Earth is not an option for the safest place to be, even though, of course, it would be in that situation. So, taking off those two things, we'll see what kind of video we can produce for y'all. And thanks for tuning in. Here, tell me that again. What'd you say? You said today's Ash Wednesday?
Yeah, today's Ash Wednesday.
I'll be damned.
Today's the start of Lent.
Interesting.
40 days till Easter. So
40 days. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty ignorant to all the Catholicism. Hey, that's our next topic. Our next topic is going to be atrocities. Like, in religion, it's going to be a video like that. So I already got another one teed up after this one. But I'd like to pick your brain more about Catholicism because I'm pretty ignorant to all that, like Ash Wednesday and then Easter
I'm
Sunday.
not no expert on it, but
No, I still like your opinion. It's entertaining in the least.
entertaining.
Yeah. Hey, so this video is about. So the next one I already said is going to be atrocities, and then the theme of this one is catastrophes. Catastrophes, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what the difference is. They're both pretty awful.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you could say atrocities are man-made and catastrophes are Mother Earth made, perhaps. Maybe that could be the difference.
I would say it could be both. Like atrocity, like a catastrophe. I would. Well, let's put it this way: atrocity is like massacres and
genocide.
Or one another.
Right.
So
there's less criminal. Maybe you could say atrocity is with criminal intent, and then catastrophe is maybe accidental.
Yeah, but technically criminal. Yeah. It's technically not criminal if it's not against the law. It could be morally wrong, but it's not criminal.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
I.e., like abortion. Abortion's I'd say atrocity, but it's not. It's not criminal because it's not against the law. And some states,
just because it's not illegal in this country right now, it doesn't mean that it's not. Yeah, that's something we can talk about in that episode. But this one with catastrophe, it's all about Mother Earth. So in the end, I want to rank, which catastrophe is most dangerous. We got all sorts of different things that we can come up with. Hurricane, earthquake, volcano.
You're a big
Yeah. Break it up. Science. So we have different types of catastrophes, right? We got geological, hydrological, which are water, and then the meteorological, which I figured you could chime in on a lot because you have a lot of history or knowledge. on meteorology. And you want to start with that? You want to talk about your tell me your credentials or lack thereof of meteorology. I know that you went to school for a while.
I went to school for it. I just I don't now consider myself a meteorologist. I did go to college for it, my major, so I'll just go further than that. But right. I'm not like a Dr. Greg Fujita or something like experts on even certain subjects.
Right.
So all my weather people name dropping here. but
Hey,
yeah.
but you did express some interest in the past in being a storm chaser.
Yes, I have. It's still something I would love to do.
So when
Yeah.
you say storm chaser, you're just chasing like hurry or
Well,
what would
tornadoes, hurricanes.
okay.
I mean, hurricanes is pretty easy considering I live in the state of Florida, but a lot
Yeah.
easier now. But
You think you would ever go out of country to do that, or you think USA has plenty? It's a
well,
hotbed
no,
enough.
country. We in terms of well, it looks like I well in terms of the uh, I'd say the USA is probably by far in terms of extreme weather
Yes.
on top of Australia has got its fair share too. I mean, right now there's floods in Sydney, so
Right.
in Queensland, in that part of Australia. But in general, it's usually the U.S. We get a mix of everything that you can think of,
Right.
just because of our geography.
Right.
So
Yeah, I was looking. I didn't dig too deep. I was on Wikipedia, but as far as 10 deadliest natural disasters, China's up there. They got the most.
China is up there.
So
they do.
But that's mostly like floods and earthquakes, and
well, the worst tornado in human history in terms of death toll actually did not happen in the United States.
Where is that?
I forgot where it was. It was like Sri Lanka, or I think it was in the Philippines.
So I mean, but a tornado, it's not that scary, right? I mean, it's scary, but it's got a very small, like you can track its trajectory, kind of like a hurricane, right? So then, and it has a very you have to be hit by a tornado. You can have like in St. Louis, you could see the path of the tornado. So I mean, if you're outside the path, it's not that scary. You're outside, you're not too bad. Sons of Guns will be standing outside watching it. Storm chasers will be right there next to it in the car. I could pull up that Superman video of him. Have you seen the Superman movie? Which one was it? Man of Steel, where the dad walks into it, or Superman. He doesn't want to be revealed as Superman, so he doesn't save his dad. You remember that?
Yeah, kind of not really. I mean,
I'll pull it up.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted here.
You're all right, bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. Man, I'm not good at remembering movies.
No, you don't.
I remember. Yeah. Well, I don't watch many movies I used to, but I don't know if that's just the religious part of me, or I don't know. I don't know.
That would make sense, if you are, because most people just they'd rather watch the movie than not watch it because of other beliefs, but that happens so much in society today where Hollywood is just trying to project some crap.
And I've always had the philosophy that if you don't like something, just don't support it, don't partake in it, and I urge everyone to do that. If you don't like something, you're not forced to buy it, you're not forced to watch it, you're not don't partake in it. If everyone started doing that, maybe certain things would be better. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, maybe we'd have more power as a people if we weren't so submissive.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would say that's how we are as human beings.
That's true. We like what we like.
We gave into peer pressure. We give into, and not just from our friends and family, but from society, in general, and people want to be with the world and be with the culture. I mean,
well, that's why we're making the video. We're making the video. We're making the video to distract ourselves from society today. We're filming it. What would you call it? The Russian invasion is underway into the Ukraine, and we're trying to avoid that topic and that.
Yes, and I am personally affected, but I'm not gonna elaborate on that.
I think that's a good topic to start on for the next atrocities video.
Yeah, and
but
it's something unfortunately that's happening in real time as we speak.
Yeah. Speaking of the movie Hollywood and all that, my T-shirt right now. Have you ever seen the show? I guess it's probably haven't. It's a vampire show called What's in the Shadows. It was a movie, and then it
No.
became. Oh man, it's like The Office, like a mockumentary. So funny. But I'm wearing a T-shirt
Oh,
that my sister made, and it
nice,
yeah,
nice,
it pays homage to
nice.
it. It's a really good
I
shirt.
am not a culture. I'm not well versed in the culture. I'm kind of an old soul over here. I'm not,
With the
you
flip
know.
phone, or is it a flip
Yeah.
phone, or is it
Well,
a slide?
I cracked the screen, so I just went back to my iPhone for now until
I
I get
see.
my
I
screen
see.
fixed.
Hey,
Yeah,
I understood.
it's destructive. Trust me. I mean, iPhone is.
Yes.
See, there's a saying that I've thought and I've heard from others. A smartphone makes you dumb. A dumb phone makes you smart. So yeah,
I'm
that's one for everyone to ponder.
I
So
agree.
yeah, yeah.
I agree.
You're dependent on it. You know, it's. Anyways, before catastrophes.
Oh, so
They
we're
talk
ranking
about
we're ranking these catastrophes. We're not ranking them on death toll or costliest. We're just ranking them on the fear factor, how scared they make you, like how afraid you would be in one situation versus another. Like I said, a tornado, not as
yeah, but
scary as something
tornadoes
else,
probably.
perhaps.
Well, it's more scary than a hurricane.
Yeah,
There's several reasons for that because hurricanes actually have lower wind speeds in general than tornadoes. Tornadoes have higher wind speeds, but they're over a smaller area, and because of that, to this day, I'm going to the meteorological part. We know uh, what's the ingredients to form a tornado, but we don't know the spark is to produce it in that specific area.
sure.
So that's why if you see a forecast, you'll see generally this area has a moderate risk of severe weather, and and I get I don't like the naming of that system from the Storm Prediction Center because it's like slight risk of severe weather is like above, it's like standard weather. And people who predict things read that and say, "Oh, slight risk. It's not. I'm not. There's no risk." I said, "It's just.
It's
It's
almost random in a
yeah.
sense.
It's more of a. What's the percentage of it happening within a certain
Hmm.
mile mile radius within anywhere in that area? It's not a. It's not a great. I don't think it's a great naming system. Some people put, I've seen other people on other channels, websites and stuff. They'll put, like your local guys. They'll change the scale to be like, like one for like a scale or something, or I've seen them do all kinds of stuff. Green, yellow. I don't like that. I think
Oh, like the warning
I
system, yeah.
yeah, the warning system. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the days out in advance. It's good for if you're a meteorologist or anybody who knows a little bit about meteorology, but besides that, for the general, I think it's very bad. But anyways,
Yeah.
I would say
Well,
tornadoes are definitely above hurricanes.
I think I agree with you. Like the flooding factor of a hurricane can be pretty scary. Like let's
But
see, in
it's
Galveston, they got hit really bad in the 1900s, and the flooding is
yes, it
what did it.
was.
Like the wood houses just, whoosh. It wasn't necessarily the hurricane;
Yeah,
it was the storm surge and the
but there's
flooding.
a difference between
Yeah,
now and then. You see,
yeah.
now because of this beautiful thing called satellites, and more ocean buoys and the data that we have now, you can see a hurricane pretty easily.
Oh
In
yeah.
Galveston, when that happened, they heard about reports from Cuba and sometimes ships, so they get some ship reports, and you see meteorologists kind of draw it, but we don't know exactly where it's going, and
Right.
and unfortunately, lots of people died.
And you can't stop it. So it's like, sure, it's coming, but what are you
No,
gonna do? Like Katrina, we knew it was coming. We knew it was gonna be bad. Category 5.
yeah, but it didn't even make landfall as a Category 5, but it
Yeah.
was a Category 5 in the right area, and the way the ocean floor is, that storm surge accumulated, and unfortunately, and people think about New Orleans, but I dare everyone to look up video and pictures from Mississippi and Alabama. it is devastating what happened. Mississippi, Alabama. I'm forgetting. Yeah, it's mainly Mississippi. It's like Biloxi, Gulfport. I mean, there's a town called Waveland, Mississippi. It got wiped off the map. So that is pretty scary, and that is in 2005. That's not like a long time ago.
Right.
And I mean, we've even had storms from last year. If you see what happened, there's not many islands in Louisiana. What happened to Cameron, Louisiana, Hurricane Laura? Of course, Weather Channel called the COVID came because we don't have a 2020. I thought that was stupid and corny, but anyways.
Yeah, it's a
it's not like it was spreading viruses. Yeah, it was like COVID came. It's like that. Yeah. Anyways,
that is kind of dumb. That nomenclature of the news.
Yeah, and hurricanes can be scary though. From wind from the winds, it's not the winds aren't as high as a tornado, but the fact that they're continuously going and you get higher gusts in there. Continuously going for several hours.
And can it carry stuff inside of it? Like the water particles can help keep things in the air longer and piercing.
I don't know about though. I mean, if you're outside, but I would say the flying debris. Well, they both have flying debris issues.
Yeah.
The wind can do damage. Hurricane Andrew was really bad hurricane, but storm surge was not what it was known for. It was known for. Look up videos of the southern suburbs of Miami got decimated. I mean, absolutely decimated. Like Homestead, Kendall, Cutler Ridge. I mean, those areas of southern Miami suburbs were devastated. So I think, but that forced Florida to change its building codes. So,
sure. I mean, when I talk about that forcing change and the evolution of America, I look back at Texas this last year, and they're stuck in gas, and they have this freeze that completely decimates the infrastructure. And what do? They don't advance. They just throw money back into the same broken system. It's like rebuilding wood houses, even not upgrading at all. It's kind of weird how we did it. It's like we didn't learn anything.
And well, the whole thing was that both Minnesota and Texas have windmills. I don't think. I mean, they're not bad, but there's a debate over them, and I'm not saying they're a terrible option, but the difference is that Texas, because of the weather, and this from living there, the weather does not get as cold. And that kind of ice storm it happens as often compared to the winter weather that happens in Minnesota. So Minnesota winterized their windmills and winterized their infrastructure. It makes sense for them to do it. Texas, a lot of times it was just, if you did that, you'd be throwing money and then nothing would happen that winter, and now you just wasted all that money that year winterizing your infrastructure. And I'm no infrastructure expert, but that alone is what harmed it. Ice windmills getting frozen while people are now when people are stuck inside, they're using more electricity. They're watching Netflix. Their lights are on. Versus when they're at work, it's not as much.
I just heard the reports. Believe it or not, people were having bonfires inside their house because they don't have a fireplace, and they were killing themselves with the yeah. Would you believe that? I know, right? I can't believe it. I cannot believe that's a cause of death.
They could have done a bonfire. Well, people also don't forget, like when they use electricity, people want to get their generators. Yeah. But people leave their garage doors closed when they do that.
Oh, there you go. That probably happened too.
Carbon monoxide poisoning, and you kill yourself because.
So does that go? That should go to that. It shouldn't be a death toll for the storm. It should be a death toll for the idiocy of them and their carbon monoxide.
But it's just the same thing in a hurricane. You'll tell people to leave, and then they don't leave, and then they cry. And
that's true.
Now they're stuck, and no one can get them. Yeah,
it pumps up the death toll. What kind of fear? What does an earthquake do? Does it strike fear into your heart when you think of an earthquake coming? You're like, oh goodness. or is that not
Well,
necessarily
and
something
that's
that?
something that I don't know because you don't get any type of prediction. It just happens.
Yeah,
So maybe what is happening, but I don't know. Shaking doesn't.
yeah, that's true. Depends where you are, I
It doesn't
suppose.
feel so.
If you're in downtown New York and you got skyscrapers all around you,
You're
you
like
might be
you're
pooping
just
yourself.
you're just like it just feels weird. Like it doesn't. It's not like having a spiraling column of air
Yeah,
violently rotating coming towards you.
right.
It just for me. I don't know about you, Zach, but for
Yeah.
me, it just thinking of just shaking just doesn't. And I know it causes buildings to collapse, and if
Yeah,
you're
the
inside,
aftermath causes a tsunami.
yeah, oh yeah, the tsunami. That's
That,
just the tsunami is probably scary.
so
That's
tsunami
scary.
is
The earthquake.
scary. Yeah, I agree. So that brings up pretty well segues into the next question of um, what's scarier, a wall of water in a tsunami, or like a wall of fire in a forest fire, or a wall of snow in an avalanche that could possibly bury you.
I
So
would say the fire.
the
I don't know
fire
why, but
just
try because I don't know. I know pretty scary. I don't know, but snow for me is like it's just I always associated it with as when I was a kid. Have fun in the snow. So maybe I
sure.
don't have as psychological
Yeah,
as an effect. Being somebody from a state that gets some snow in Missouri,
yeah.
so yeah, and you probably can speak to this too. It is, it's snow. You don't really think of it. Fire is just like wow. I mean, it's just you can feel the heat
Oh
when it's
man.
coming off of it. Yeah,
But you
that's
got to
that.
be dead in seconds. If you're caught in a huge wall of fire, you probably are just singed, scorched, done.
Yeah, and you're burning to death.
Yeah,
That just sounds like a very painful way to
yeah.
die and
And the
not a fun way to
concussiveness,
die.
like you're not gonna drown or suffocate from an avalanche. I guess people do suffocate in avalanches, but like I feel like a
It's
gigantic
more
wall
of
of
when you get
it's
stuck.
yeah,
You just more of are like I can't get out, so I can't get
yeah.
food. I can't I'm stuck in here.
So I
You
guess you
could
would be
probably
comparing,
you
yeah,
could probably eat the snow for water. You could probably
yeah.
get water from it, but
Well, the idea if you're in
just
an
like
avalanche is you spit and then you know which way gravity's pulling and then you dig the other way. Kind of like air
see,
bubbles. You're underwater, you blow some air bubbles, and then
yeah,
you
there
follow
you
the
go.
bubbles. But still, you're in a that's.
Well, what if the spit freezes?
Then you have an icicle on your nose, and you're no good for it.
Oh yeah,
No-
there you go. No, actually, which way the icicle is pointing? There you go.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
Then you wake
yeah,
up from being knocked out. But I think an avalanche is pretty scary. Being the buried alive thing. I'm more
yeah.
scared
That's
of being
true.
buried
Slow
alive than
death.
drowning.
I don't know. Drowning would be pretty bad. Well, it
Yeah,
also depends. I mean, if the wall of water is pretty. Like, if you see videos of this tsunami in Japan, right? How fast you're just watching it, how fast that water rolls through.
yeah,
I mean, it almost wants to like, or what happened in, what was it? I believe it was 2004, if I wasn't mistaken, but I believe it was Sri Lanka or Indonesia or one of those. Just how fast it could just knock you out. So it's like you don't really.
yeah.
There's a chance that if he just knocks you out and then you drown, but you don't really wake up from it. You just drown and
Well, what
it just
mess
doesn't seem
in
painful.
Japan? What messed with those nuclear reactors? Was that the earthquake or was that a tsunami? That
That
was the
was a
earthquake, right?
mix of both. That was a mix of both.
This is both.
I watched a whole video and documentary on it. Well, first off, the earthquake knocked stuff out,
Yeah,
um, so it caused issues, and then the tsunami took out the emergency systems
right.
to use the backup, and at that point, there was really not much they could do. Which
I
that's
mean,
their fault for putting a nuclear plant there.
right on the ring of fire.
Earthquake.
Sticking a
Yeah,
nuclear plant on the ring of fire. Yeah, pretty ignorant.
I'm not. Coal's pretty dirty, and I get the Japanese they like to be, and they're pretty cleanly people. I'll admit that. If you ever go to Tokyo, what I've seen, there's like no trash on the streets or anything. So I guess they don't like looking at anything that looks dirty.
That's more of a culture thing, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, there's also like a level of respect that people have.
Yeah.
I mean, here in America, you see like trash, like sometimes. I mean, it's not as bad as some other countries, but like, there's like, my dad was in Panama. He sees.
Yeah,
he sees
Panama's
like,
pretty bad.
Trash.
Panama's pretty bad. Like you wouldn't believe. Like
he's watched people just throw trash out. Like,
dude, you drive down the highway.
The streets like are,
you drive down the highway in Panama, and you look, at the side of the road. There's no grass or anything. It's literally just mounds of trash. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. That was in the city.
But... That's because. Well, yeah, it's Panama City.
Panama City was bad.
He lives. Well, I mean, and the coast where he lives not as bad because it's kind of a beach area. So people are like, let's keep the beach clean. It's like litter with trash.
Is he on the Caribbean side or the Pacific side? I forget.
Pacific side.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
There have been some UFO sightings down that way, right off the coast there.
On the Pacific side, I don't think you see anything like that. I think you're telling me so.
Yeah. But one thing about nuclear power that we could speak on is that sure, coal power is easier, cheaper, but nuclear power in the long run, right, I believe it's cheaper, but also you can do stuff with nuclear power you can't do with coal power. You can't have a coal submarine. You can have a nuclear submarine, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as innovation goes.
That is true. Yeah, and nuclear power is really efficient, and I also believe it's the safest form because most like if you look at some incidents that have happened in the past, minus the Fukushima one and Chernobyl. Chernobyl was that's in a country that didn't have safety isn't exactly didn't have a safety culture in that power plant. But in general, looking at instances like 3 Mile Island and stuff, it's livable on 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania if you really want to live on it. I'm not having people live on there because they're like, I don't want to live next to a power plant. I think the island is owned by the electric company, but if you look, there wasn't really that much radiation that came out of it. So because of all the backup systems that they had to prevent a meltdown, so I'd say it's pretty safe. It's and I think after 9/11, a lot of the nuclear plants have gotten stricter in terms of their building code and everything to withstand airplane attack or bombs or anything like that. So they're really pretty safe.
Right. So long, but we have to maintain them. It's like it's infrastructure. You got to keep maintaining that kind of stuff.
That's true.
So in 50 years,
unfortunately, our culture doesn't. Our country, it's kind of declined in terms of maintaining infrastructure. So.
Yeah. Well, the last thing to speak on would be volcanoes, and those are pretty scary, man.
Those are the several things because you get tsunami from it.
Yeah.
You get that. You can talk about wall of fire. I mean, lava.
Oh yeah.
It correctly can start fire.
Yeah, the lava flows.
Yeah, the lava flows.
But you also know where the volcanoes are, unless you're.
That's true.
So
But they sometimes will not erupt for, hundreds of years, and then all of a sudden out of the blue it just
pop the tops.
Yeah, like that one in Tonga, boom, Yeah, it just.
But then you have to think of the aftermath. I mean, the aftermath of all these are pretty devastating. But aftermath of a volcano could be very catastrophic as far as you have
it's multiple. It's like it's an earthquake, tsunami, and then you have lava all mixed into one.
That's true. Yeah, it's almost like all of them combined.
Yeah,
and what was it called? Not Krakatoa, the one before that. Let me see.
Pompeii.
Here. Yeah, Bombay. Pompeii. Yeah, I said Bombay. Okay.
That's in India.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad. I mean, that's being buried alive too, but you're being buried alive by ash.
I think they still have the pretty kind of freaky to think about it because people were. I mean, I think their bones have all rotted away and everything,
I don't know. I mean, they're digging them up. Are you saying that you think the bones are done?
You could see the people, and they're like last.
Yeah.
What they were doing last. It's just like
they're not. There's no fossils in there. You think it's just like like almost like
It's
a
so
cast. It's like
old,
a
so
cast.
long time ago.
Yeah,
It's kind of freaky, because it's like, I
yeah.
mean, I guess it's helpful in terms of the fact of like, well, we know how big people were and stuff at that time, but
Was
at
that
the same time, it's like,
Vesuvius? Mount Vesuvius?
yeah, it's Mount Vesuvius. Pompeii, I think, was a city
They say
that
13,000 died.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Wow, that's a
Which,
lot.
yeah, which
13,000.
ranks for 6. From Vesuvius upward, you have an earthquake and a tsunami. Wait, what the heck? Okay, you're right. There was one volcano eruption that caused an earthquake and a tsunami in 1792, and it had 15,000 killed supposedly. And then you have this Armero that I've never heard of in Colombia. And then you have Mount Pele in 1902, and then the second biggest is Krakatoa out there in Indonesia or
Yeah.
Polynesia or whatever, and that was, they say, 30,000 deaths there. But then Krakatoa was the one I was thinking of, or rather,
Yeah.
and then Mount Tambora was the one that, the aftermath is just all this ash and uh, whatever you want to call it blown up in the air, and it's called labeled the year without summer, so it affected
Oh yeah,
everything.
that's a third part. That's another part I forgot about. This the volcanic ash
Yeah.
can be devastating to, you having food to eat because it destroys plants and stuff. And you're like, well, I can eat meat, but I'm like, but the animals have less to eat, so it's just all around pretty devastating. In fact, that's probably one of our biggest threats to human extinction in terms.
2, 1. All right, we're back, and we're ready to keep the ranking going. Finish up this ranking, and then once we get that ranked, we're gonna decide what is the safest place on Earth. Is that all right, Misha? You want to do safest place on Earth or safest place in the U.S. or maybe North? Just do the whole
I
globe.
can try it. Same place in the U.S.
Okay.
Actually, I have a few ideas. I know where those are. But safer.
We could do west. We could do Western world because that helps me with mine. We can say the North America, South America.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
If you were talking about from natural disasters or just natural disasters, okay.
Yeah, because as we've discussed, no one's safe in a world-ending event. So I think we've agreed that the volcano is pretty intimidating, if not the most fearsome event. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on top. That's the number one ranked scariest natural disaster. But we haven't decided where we've kind of done these like sub rankings here on the wall of fire, snow, and water. So where do those rank? You think you want to put the wall of fire, the forest fire, put that up above everything else, put it at second? You think that's worthy? Or do you think an earthquake, or rather a tornado, would be worse than that? Because we got 1, 2.
I'd say a tornado. Tornadoes.
Yeah.
You only got a small amount of lead time.
So
we call it lead time between warning to that. Some people just have bad cell reception, so they don't get a warning tag. So they all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere and they're dead. So
then the earthquake would be the least scariest.
I mean, I would say maybe avalanche. To me, it's probably the least scariest.
Yeah, because there it is.
There's a possibility of survival.
Yeah. Hey, let's not go on top of that mountain. It looks a little precarious.
Yeah, and plus a lot of times some people go, "Oh, I haven't heard from somebody in a while," and then they'll send a search and rescue team. So they're like, "I haven't heard from so and so,"
Yeah.
So and some people take like stuff just in case they get stuck in one to locate them.
I think being buried alive like that would be pretty terrorizing, but I think you're right. You can be buried alive in an earthquake too, and you can be buried alive underwater, by a wall of water just the same. So I'll go ahead and put the avalanche all the way down, even though it does seem pretty scary. But so the earthquake,
pretty scary,
that means the earthquake's coming in 6th place. 5th place would be the tsunami, which kind of coincide together. So that's pretty fair to put them next to each other. And then we have the hurricane in third, the tornado in second. Or wait, we rather the hurricane in fourth.
Tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the forest fire would be in between. I lost the forest fire there. Where do we put the forest fire? We'll put
Let's put three.
Yeah, okay.
Let's put at three.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And then tornado would be two, just to happen so fast.
Yes, and then the volcano. All right, so we've established our list. So now we have to decide what is the safest place to be in the Western world. And I have Google Earth pulled up, if that helps you at all. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas already?
In the Western world?
Yes,
well, let's roll out the United States, because there are a handful of pockets that don't really get much in terms of extreme weather. I would say.
So wait, so let's clarify. Is it a doomsday prepper situation, or is it just this, like, is that what you want to say? Doomsday prepper.
Where's the safest place to be in the world?
Yeah.
So I see. So if doomsday event were to happen today, where do you want to be right now?
Sure, yes.
Okay, that's probably better. Versus safest place to live, I would probably. There's a few places I could name, but yeah, safest places to be. I would probably say I'm looking at South America, and I look at the biggest country down there, land-wise, which is Brazil.
Yes, so, I'm looking at it here with the Amazon running right through it. It looks pretty luscious, pretty green. I think it would survive well. A lot of land mass.
And if you had a tsunami or something,
right?
All those trees would take the energy, would take the brunt of the if you go thick in the rainforest.
Sure. So are you thinking kind of like, Brazil's pretty big, right? So are you thinking the east side over here? What is it, Rio de Janeiro area? Or
I want to go.
You want to be like more northern, kind of by Colombia?
Well, probably Rio de Janeiro. The mountains there could be safe.
Yeah.
Place.
See, when I'm looking at South America, I'm thinking about the mountain ridge on the west coast there, because the way that tectonic plate,
Chile, and
Peru. Yep,
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I was gonna say Chile, but I think I'll go with Peru because it's got a little bit more luscious temperate forest there, and the way the tectonic plates are, that plate's actually overlapping the Pacific plate. I think it is. It might be like a Southern Pacific plate, but that's gonna protect you. If there's an earthquake right there on the crust there, the tsunami is gonna probably go out. It's not gonna come in, because where the epicenter of that earthquake is so close to land, the water is gonna rush the opposite direction. So you don't have to worry about a tsunami in that sense, but I wonder how, with that mountain range, I wonder how many volcanoes are there. I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about the weather down there. Do you know much about the meteorology down there in South America?
I would say it's pretty rainy. That's why they got the rainforest down there in Brazil, but yeah, it's pretty rainy. You notice how green it is. I would say, which is good. I would say because there's lots of fresh water coming down that you could use for if we're in a situation, to get water to drink, or it's not dry. That's the worst thing you want to do in a doomsday scenario, is be a place where it's just like a desert, where it's dry all the time. It doesn't rain that much. So
another good reason to pick that area would be the equator. You're sitting right there on the equator. Yeah, like if there was going to be a volcano that gave us another year of winter, at least you got a little bit more time there on the equator, I'd imagine.
That is true. I mean, the clouds are picking up, but the equator would definitely help in terms of sun rays penetrating through this thick ash.
Sure.
It'd probably be a little more likely to get through. So.
Sure. I think the equator is right about through Peru. I know there are mountains.
Yeah.
I know there are lots of mountains over there in Peru, but I don't know necessarily volcanoes. Maybe I should search before I go ahead and agree that that might be the place to be.
The equator goes more through north. I'd say even Peru, but there's Colombia over there too, and there's a few.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about North America? You think get the heck out of there? It's not worth it to try to make it work in North America? Because if I can, historically, it's pretty bad track record.
Yeah, and it's you look at North America. Really, when people talk about North America, they talk about three countries: Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. And Mexico is a lot of desert, and it's mountainous. There's some mountainous areas, but even the mountains are kind of dry compared to what some other areas. And the out west here in the U.S. is not a bad area, and I'd say even up into Canada, near Vancouver and British Columbia, I would say it's pretty, it's not bad. So,
yeah, I'd agree there. And it's kind of the same thing where you're on that Pacific coast almost, and you're close to the Ring of Fire, but that's not necessarily going to get you. I mean, there are certainly a lot of mountains there, and I know that there's a couple earthquakes over there on the West Coast. So I would agree that if I was going to go towards the Rockies, I'd want to be up more north rather than be south down in the Utah area, even though it is quite nice there, I've heard. But historically, North America has not done very well. Like there is an ice sheet over, what was it, like 18,000 years ago in Canada. There's a huge ice sheet. Meteor strikes, melt the flash flood, melt the ice, and boom, just like that, all the gigantic fauna are just destroyed in North America. Hardly anything survives that. So.
Yeah, and large parts don't have that much fauna. I'd say as somebody who's traveled, let's say probably just in the U.S. I didn't travel to Canada, so I can't see Canada. I can't see to Mexico. Pretty close to Mexico. I was in the Mexican border, for good part Texas.
Yeah.
I ran along the Mexican border, but
what is that, like Route 5 or some crap? What was it?
Yeah, it's like there's like nothing out there like at all, and you can kind of see parts of it, the good old wall, kind of some of it that is built. So, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
We talk about.
Well, you've been through Montana. What do you think about that Montana area? Pretty flat, isn't it?
I've been to Montana. I've been to Idaho. I've been to Wyoming. That's probably what you're thinking. Yeah, Wyoming.
Wyoming. That's what. Yeah, you said that.
Wyoming actually wouldn't be a bad place. There isn't really much in terms of vegetation. People think there is, but there's really not. It's not really thick at all. Obviously, the state I'm in is a no-go. That's Florida sucks. It's flat. Yeah, it's got lots of vegetation, but it's flat. It's the flattest state in the union. So.
You got any predictions on when that sucker's gonna sink?
Florida?
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be years before that happens.
Yeah. And then there will be things. There'll be Tampa, the new Atlantis. Oh, what could have been if we didn't lose Tampa? Go Miami. It's
Venice. Well, you can go to that. Look at Venice.
That'd be pretty cool.
Really thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, but the American version of it. So.
Yeah. Speedboats. It'd be
but people are like, I was like, well, who? First of all, sea level rise is not as big as people think it is. It's like a few inches at most every year. It's even that, but even that's kind of a lot. It's not even that bad. And the people that live along the coast, in large parts of the country here, you're probably rolling in cash, so it probably wouldn't hurt you as bad. So, So I think people would adapt. I don't really think. Plus, there's hurricanes, so people have to rebuild all every so often. Often, some areas have to rebuild every so often. So yeah, like I look at Cameron, Louisiana, destroyed after Hurricane Rita, and then destroyed. And those houses and homes were really only like 10, 50 years, and then destroyed again in 2020. So it's kind of a habit. But yeah, I'd say Florida. Florida's in a big old. Uh, Florida's not. Global warming's not as bad. I mean, there's people that said, "Look, the World Trade Center was going to flood, or the Statue of Liberty is going to flood." Before like 2015 or something. This was like back in 2000. The politician I shall not name made a huge documentary about it. And it did flood under Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah.
And they claimed, look, I was right. But it was like, that's a hurricane. In fact, actually, Sandy was something, it was a superstorm. It was a zombie storm. It was something that's practically never happened before and probably won't ever happen in our lifetime.
You could say that guy was kind of the creator of fear porn, you know? He's the he's the creator, yeah, the Lord and Savior.
Well, there's a joke that he created the internet, right? Which I mean, the internet is a lot of fear porn on it. So
yeah.
So it's mainly a lot of hate porn too, but and actual porn. We got that. We got the fourth, actual porn.
That's true. They're all just as bad. We'll have to rank. We'll have to rank that next.
Yeah, and then I go to the religious side, but yeah, in terms of I'm getting close because I see billboard with one of my friends' name on it. I know I'm getting close to where I'm going to go. Anyways, I'm a truck driver, y'all, but I shall not name the company. That's always to stay a secret.
Yes, you have. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
We don't talk companies here.
Harassment.
We don't talk about that on this podcast. But I think we've got a pretty good video here. As far as I've researched very quickly, I don't think Peru has that many active volcanoes. I think it's the place to be. Utah
as a state to me. If you want to be in the United States.
I think that's pretty good. Fair.
Yeah, think of the last natural disasters happened in Utah. You can't name of it. Yeah.
And you got that Salt Lake, huh? You don't think Salt Lake City is place?
And it's a really weird place for the Mormons to be like, yeah, let's settle here. This is a great place, even though we can't drink that water. If it's in the lake. Yeah, that was a great idea. I mean, it's pretty cool. I recommend just traveling on I-80. After the second you get past the Nevada border, you see the salt flats.
Yeah.
And it's they actually race on the salt flats.
Oh yes. Well, they test like the world's fastest cars out there and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the perfect place.
Let's end this video with where you would most like to retire in the United States. You've seen a lot of the United States. Where would you most like to retire if you had to pick a place?
I'm in the state that I want to retire in.
Florida's the one.
If you were talking about on financials, in terms of value, I would say Florida. But if it was just okay, you had unlimited money, where would you want to retire?
Yeah, in America.
I'd probably. It's kind of a lot. I mean, probably when I'm older, I want to be less around cities, so that adds a lot. It could be one of the Mountain West states,
like a Colorado.
Colorado, probably maybe a Utah, maybe even like Laramie, Wyoming, which I've been to plenty of times. It's.
I'd be down for a trip to Utah. I'm overdue. I've heard a lot of good things. I've been to Colorado, and I got to say, it was beautiful. I would retire.
Colorado's probably better to visit because Utah, there's not as much stuff to do. I mean, unless you want to go see the Mormon Church, right? The headquarters, the HQ, the Vatican, their Vatican, right?
Sure.
But But yeah, it's right there.
For me, it's
Yeah,
Upper Peninsula or Wisconsin. That's where I want to be, man. I want to be in nice
yeah,
forest and nice snowed in. I want to get snowed in, Maybe
Oh
not.
well, and also actually Tennessee would be a great state.
Yeah,
I gotta say the mountains on the East Coast too. The
Appalachians over
Tennessee,
there.
the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah,
That's a great region. And heck, I even go small town Kansas. There's something charming about. Now I've been to small town Kansas. People want to talk. They preserve those old buildings from ages ago. So
sure.
it's just something you don't see in big cities. It's kind of nice, and that whole small town mentality is just
Right.
it's just something that we don't a lot of people don't experience.
That's true.
So in
And
our
then they
country,
formulate opinions based on the people who live there, and they've never been there to meet those people. So
nope, and you know what? They're really friendly people. So
yeah, definitely.
if they see you stuck or something, they will come and help you out, or you go to a city and you go in there, something happens. Everyone drives past you and everyone ignores you, and yeah, and that's.
Yep.
I'll tell you. I'll end it on that. It's if you're from the Midwest and you move to Florida or California or any state that's got a lot of people from the East Coast, uh, don't be surprised at how rude people are. Anyways, I'll end it on
Yeah.
that.
Well, Misha, thanks again for letting me pick your brain, and we'll look
Yeah.
forward to the next one. This was
Oh yeah.
Catastrophes. Next one's Atrocities.
Yeah.
All right, I like that.